Hey guys, Happy New Year. So today is my first video of 2018 and we're talking about 3 Lightroom tricks to help you edit your portraits fast, especially in low lighting conditions. Roll the intro. Firstly, look at the length of these other tutorials on YouTube. No thanks. Let's speed things up so you can spend more time editing your photos and less time watching tutorials. Okay, so soft golden hour lighting is of course the best conditions, but if you run out of time and you don't have the luxury of those conditions, are you just going to give up and quit? No, of course not. So squeeze out a few extra photos in those poor lighting conditions and let's make it work over in Lightroom. Here we go. All right, so in this photo the subject is backlit and couldn't turn around because the background the other way was unusable, but this makes her face quite dark. So I'm going to crop and brighten this photo. The first of the 3 tricks is to enhance the features of any portrait photo. And the way we do this is in the brush tool. You select the top where it says custom, go down to soften skin, and we're going to brush over all of her skin except her major features like her eyebrows, her eyes, and her lips. But we can brush over everything else and it will really smooth and soften that area quite nicely. Next, iris enhance. We're going to use 2 separate brushes on each of the eyes because they're at different exposures. So we're going to brush over her eyes and you'll see the settings there are just to increase exposure and increase saturation. Alright, the next one, we're going to brush the whites of her eyes. We're going to bring those up slightly. Next is a new brush tool and we're just going to increase the exposure in her hair. So we're going to increase that brightness and also we're going to desaturate a little bit because personally I like the look of whiter hair. So we're just going to keep brushing the hair and increase the exposure. Next up, I'm going to brush her face and just increase the exposure slightly on her face to remove the blemishes. And then finally, without the brush tool, lift the shadows and that will brighten it up even more. Okay, the next step is we're going to head down to the tone curve. We're going to select 3 points on the tone curve. We're going to crush the blacks. We're going to crush the whites and look at the contrast in that photo. By lifting the midtones and the high tones as well, wow, it really highlights all the dark features there. Beautiful. Okay, so portrait editing trick number 2 is drawing the eye inward. And this is not a new tool if you've seen my previous Lightroom tutorial. However, it is very important. And we use the radial tool here. We drop the exposure, and we also drop the clarity, and this darkens and blurs the area around the face. A very important tool when editing portraits. Okay, so the third and final trick to editing portraits, but not limited to portraits, is the tones. And we're going to split the tones by bringing the blues into the more teal range and the yellows to the more orange range. So if you look at the color wheel, you'll understand which colors contrast each other. Also, it is quite a bitonal photo. We want to make 3 tones in it. So we're going to use the graduated filter tool, make it a little bit pink and bring the exposure down. And you'll notice a very subtle pink appear in the sky. And that will actually bring a third and new tone into the photo, which is very subtle, but you'll notice the difference once it's there. So I do notice her face is a bit too pink, which I do not like. So I'm going to change the hues of the red and make that more orange. That is better. That feels much better. Alright, we're just going to bump up the noise reduction to remove any residual grain left in the photo and then put a slight vignette on it and that will draw the eye inward as well. Hit F full screen, hit Y side by side, and then you hit backslash and you can see it back and forth like that. Alright, here's a new photo. That's the after. Let's reset it and let's get the before. So I'm going to put this in super fast forward except for this first tool, and that's this teeth whitening. We didn't get that in the first photo because she wasn't smiling, but in this photo she is, and this is the tool we can use to brighten up her teeth. And you'll notice that in the teeth whitening setting, it's got the desaturated portion on the side there, and that's to remove any potential yellowing in the teeth. So I just like to increase the exposure a little bit, desaturate it, and if it's still a little yellow, you can always tint it blue slightly, and that'll take any yellowing out. After we smooth this skin, we will click on the clone tool right there, and that will remove any blemishes that appear on the skin, and just like they were never there. Great. So to review, the 3 essential tricks of editing portraits is 1, enhancing the subject's features, so eyes, skin, hair, teeth. Number 2 is drawing the eye inward, and that's using the radial tool, just like this, dropping exposure, dropping clarity. 3 is split toning. So we're adjusting the tone curve and then heading down to the coloring. So we're just brightening our hair still here in her face, but we're getting to it. We're going to go to the colors, and we're going to contrast the colors. So to the opposite sides of the color wheel. Finally, drop the vignette, draw the eye inward, and we're done. Before and after. There we go. Alright, so if you're interested, I have 12 presets. The link is in the description. And I have done all of the tone curve and split toning done for you. All you need to do is just click on the menu at the side there, you can see. So that's the Moody preset, and this is the Portrait Pop preset. So yeah, as I said, the link is in the description if you're interested. So of course, shooting in good light conditions is the most optimal, but don't be afraid to shoot in non-optimal conditions because DSLRs are powerful nowadays, and also this software is great. So go ahead and keep shooting. That is it for today's video. If you learned something new or you liked the video, then give it a thumbs up. Consider subscribing if you aren't already. Stay true to those New Year's resolutions, and we will see you in the next one. Take care.